clinical trials are really the critical step of translating scientific discovery, which is explosive in today's era of technological transformation and biological discovery. But to translate that into saving lives, into new therapies or new prevention, that requires that step of clinical trials. A scientific process, which is rigorous. And there are multiple phases of clinical trials, looking at safety, looking at efficacy, and then looking at its superiority over the standard of care, so that the treatment is better than what we have today, and it's treatment of tomorrow. And it's only through clinical trials that we can accelerate that, find that cure for cancer, because the treatments or prevention strategies of today are simply not good enough. It takes on average 10 to 15 years to develop any new discovery, whether it's a new drug or a new therapeutic or a new prevention or vaccine, from lab scientific discovery into human testing, into eventual regulatory approval and availability to the general public. To find that those patients who need the precision medicines, it really requires a lot of patients. It requires a scale of population when you do clinical trials. And if you just do it in a single country or a single entity or a single institution, it just takes way too long. And that's why it takes 10 to 15 years to develop any new therapeutics, because simply we can't find the right patients in need. There are many patients in need, and we just can't find them because we work in silos. So that's there's a scientific aspect, but there's also a lot of regulatory hurdles and policy hurdles around the world. Many clinical trials are not done in harmonious ways. They're very different in each country. The approval, submission, review process is separate. It's different bureaucracies, different government agencies. They don't talk to each other. You submit it, and it's very costly, very painstakingly slow. And often patients are simply waiting because of the paperwork. We need to work with the industry, with the pharmaceutical, the biotechnology industry, who come from very different angles, but there's also that common purpose that brings us together. And we need that as a force against cancer. We also need the government. We need to work with the government agencies, because they're the ones who actually review and they approve the medicines, and they have the obligation of safety and efficacy for the public. Therefore, we all have to work together to really break down the silos and to really accelerate that process of clinical trials in a multi-regional, international fashion, so that you can really accelerate that pace from a 10 to 15 year process into 2 to 3 years each. And we have now done proof of concept through lots of our pivotal international trials that I had the privilege and opportunity to lead at Memorial Sloan Kettering, to show that we can lead these breakthroughs in that much quicker time frame of 2 to 3 years. But if we do this at scale, if everybody is doing international trials and then getting them to regulatory agencies and having governments to work together at the outset, every step of the way, and also at the approval process, not just within a single country like the United States, but also with many other countries all working together, then we can really bring the innovation to the patients in need, the patients who are suffering. And with that pace, it then snowballs. The ecosystem gets transformed. There's going to be more investment. There's going to be more need. And then the whole paradigm changes. We then will see the cure for cancer.